Hello everyone and welcome to my altcoin analysis. If you want to support me and my content, leave a like and a comment with at least 7 words to help boost the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe and turn on notifications to stay up to date. I also have a separate video where I analyze Bitcoin and Ethereum daily if you are interested in that kind of analysis. If you also want to trade like me, I partnered up with mexc. The link is in my video description for a 20% lifetime trading fee discount. mexc is the 7th biggest exchange based on volume in the spot market and in the futures market, rank 10. What I like with mexc, and that's why it is one of my favorite exchanges, look at the taker fees. mexc is the lowest in the market, and with my referral link, you will also get an additional 20% trading fee discount. Also, 100 pairs are with 0 fees. In my altcoin update, I'm talking about Render, for example. You can trade it with 0 fees on mexc. And if we go to the first page, then you can see so many coins: Solana, SUI, Cardano. I also have seen HBAR somewhere in that list. So all those coins are with 0 fees, and we are talking about them daily. And you also have other nice coins to trade with. So, what did XRP do? Not much, beside a fake out, and we have seen so many fake outs lately. We have tracked a falling wedge pattern, which here, if we zoom in, we have to go into the 15 minutes chart to see it better. We broke to the upside, we retested it. This was our entry for the $2.22. It didn't happen. We got up. This candle wasn't bad at all. It was still over the falling wedge, over the orange trend line. But after we closed here, it was my signal to get out of the trade, because after that, what happened? We got down, retested that trend line again. So that trend line is valid in my opinion, and probably getting another push to the downside. That's what I think at the moment. I have said I prefer the green trend line breaking to the upside. Let's get into the 1 hour chart. The green trend line, it has a far smoother angle than the falling wedge. And if we break that to the upside at $2.22, but since we have some resistance over us, I would just wait for the $2.22. If that breaks to the upside, then I would be in for a long trade, because after that, I think this was our low and we can reach for higher prices again. That's my game plan for XRP. I don't see any other chart patterns for now. We have tracked so many in the past weeks. So basically, we have to get some patience. Also, it's weekend. Over the weekend, we most likely go sidewards, and maybe we will find a nice, suitable pattern for us for another setup, long or short. I don't mind. Personally, I can trade both, but long would be always better. So Dogecoin. Dogecoin is still in the falling wedge. If we break that to the upside at currently 17 cents, then it would be very positive. Then we have to take the target here to the breakout point then, and we can actually reach 20.8 cents. On the way up, we have resistance, means I doubt that we get to the 28 cents unless we get some bullish reversal, because if we break that to the upside, we can jump into the fair value gap here, sell off, retest it, and while we retested this our support area, it might be even possible that we form a bearish pattern, break that to the downside, and then sell off. We have to see it in the future how the chart is going to develop. But once the 17 cents breaks to the upside, then I would be positive and in for a long position, at least up to 18.8 cents, where I think we have strong resistance and a fair value gap to close. So as long as we don't break the 17 cents to the upside, we still have the chance to sell off. If we break the 16.4 cents to the downside, then it wouldn't be positive. If we do, then we can drop again to 15.9 cents, let's say 16 cents. If we also lose that support, then this was probably not our low, and we are going to fish those lows down to 15 cents, where I think we have to hold that support. Otherwise, we might see prices going to 12 cents. Yeah, but that bearish scenario is, let's say, not realistic at the moment, since we haven't break anything to the downside yet. So, Solana. We have said about Solana that we have a bear flag, which broke to the upside, right here, where we got a retest, positive, and our target was the 127 to 130 US dollar. The nice thing with Solana was we could have used the retest for a long trade and put our stop loss tight lower in the bear flag, lower than this trend line here. And with that candle, we should have got stopped out, break even or almost break even. Now I would look for to get over the center line again. Here's the center line. As you can see, I think we have to zoom in because you might not see the center line. So we broke to the downside. We retested the bear flag again, and the retest is not good in my opinion. Then we broke the center line to the downside and retested the center line. So if we get back the center line at currently $118.60, then we have the potential to get into the top area of the bear flag. But if we don't break that to the upside again, then there's always the chance to sell off. A bear flag is a bearish pattern if that breaks to the downside, which would be currently at 115 US dollar. Then we can drop into my yellow box where I have tracked it a month ago. Yeah, that was my buy-in area. If Solana is going to get a correction, which it had, we have to go into the 8-hour chart, and then you can see from where Solana came. And I have tracked the $80, $85 to $108 as my entry for Solana. So there I would buy more Solana coins. That's the dip which I want to buy. So Cardano. Cardano is still in the falling wedge. We didn't break anything to the upside yet. We are still going sidewards. We have to wait for the 68.2 cents. If that breaks to the upside, then I can imagine that we get into our first target, the 70 cents. And if we also break that to the upside, then into the fair value gap, 72.6 cents for Cardano. So Render looks to me like we had a shoulder formatation, which broke to the downside. This one here. The target of that shoulder pattern would be the $2.87 if we just take a shoulder. This is the more bullish case. What I see for Render at the moment is that we might be in a falling wedge. If the $3.20 breaks to the upside, it would be positive, but I would actually wait for the green trend line. And the green trend line is the $3.21. The angle of that trend line looks far better than the falling wedge. If we break that to the upside, then we can expect prices going up to $3.33. And if we also break that to the upside, then we just had a triple bottom pattern. And the target would be the $3.57. So Ondo is still stuck in the bear flag. So basically, what I would do with Ondo is, if you want to long it, then you can try a long position and keep your stop loss tied lower than the bear flag. Yeah, and as long as we hold it, we don't have to be scared of another sell-off. But if we break that to the downside, which would be the 80 cents at the moment, then we can see prices going down to 77 cents, where I also have put the red trend line. If that also breaks to the downside, then we can even sell off a bit more than expected. But so far it looks good as long as we hold the bear flag. If we break that to the upside, then I think it would be very positive. 84.7 cents. Then I think we got here our low, our local low, and we can reach for the fair value gap up to 88 cents to 90 cents. And there we have to see, are we going to sell off or are we going to reach for higher prices? So SUI broke out of the falling wedge. It did 2 times a retest, breakout, retest number 1, retest number 2, and since then going sidewards. So for SUI I would look for the $2.25 breaking to the upside. Then we can go into the resistance, which is close over it, $2.27, and if that breaks to the upside, I will make that green. So I'm already in a SUI long position. If we break the $2.27 to the upside, then I would increase my position size, because then I think we can reach prices up to $2.37. I will put a price tag for you, because here we have a fair value gap and a resistance, and I think there we are going to get rejected. Also keep in mind, take profit right perfectly with the $2.37, for example, is dangerous, because it might be possible that we sell off a few pennies lower than that, and then your take profit is still there and didn't get hit. So that's my game plan for SUI at the moment. HBAR. HBAR didn't do much. Yeah, we had tracked a possible inverted shoulder head shoulder formatation, which we didn't break to the upside. Yeah, we wanted to see the 16.7 breaking sustainable to the upside. I have drew this here. We have to zoom in so I can show you that. So what we have said here is we got a candle close over the orange trend line, which is positive. Yeah, that's a nice indication for a nice breakout, but we need to wait for the validation. So I wanted to see the price going up a bit more, then do a retest, and then in that retest I can jump into a long trade with a tight stop loss lower than that and go for higher prices. That's how I manage the best risk to reward ratio, in my opinion. It won't work always, but if it works, then we get a huge amount of profits. If it's not going to work, then we lose a very small amount of percentages. Let's say here 0.5% to the downside, and if we just take the fair value gap here, which is the minimum target, 1.3%, so almost a 1 to 3 ratio. But if we reach for higher prices, then we can even get a far higher win rate. No, not win rate, risk to reward ratio. So I don't see any bearish patterns for HBAR at the moment. Maybe I'm overseeing one. I would just look that this trend is not going to break to the downside, because then I would say we have a good chance to close the 15.1 to 15.3 cents. So I will make that trend line white, because green means long. So I would look for that. If we break that to the downside, keep in mind we still have a fair value gap to get to fish the lows that lower than the low. So thank you for watching. If I gave you surplus value, I would appreciate if you click the like button, and if you're interested in daily updates, feel free to subscribe me. Have a nice day with huge gains. See you.